Well, the reading, the prayer, pretty much said it all. Yeah, nice to see you all here. I'm without my biggest supporter today, so Charlie is at a conference. And so sweetly, when I woke up this morning, I had a prayer of support, because he always does that before I come here. And so I brought my phone up here in case I kind of get the willies. I'll just look down and he'll remind me why I'm here. And so our exploration today is on prayer, faith, and belief. And right away, I was taken back to when I was a child, and my grandmother Sunday, she had a nurse's watch with a little dangle bob off of it that had a mustard seed in it. And I wanted to be a nurse so I could get a mustard seed. So my dream of being a nurse started really young. And I remember just all the times with my grandmother, that seemed to be the symbol of her. And so I was under the impression, I was telling somebody this story the other day, that was the only thing I got from my grandmother when she passed away, was that mustard seed. But you know what? I didn't get it. I had my own that my mother had gotten me, that I wore around my neck when I learned the 23rd Psalm from the Bible. So she gave me this mustard seed, and I put that on a chain, and then I put a crystal on it. And as I matured, I carried it around as one of those totems, and I can't find the dang thing now. But I realized, so here I am without my mustard seed and my crystal, and without my husband, but I still have faith. Go figure, right? I still have. And so I went into the cupboard, and I found little mustard seeds. And so I recall, if you haven't, see it? Yeah, so I'll bless you guys with those. Those seeds, the story behind that's the faith of a mustard seed, was what Jesus was telling his disciples. You know, if you want something to paraphrase, if you want to move the mountain, you must have the faith of the mustard seed. And I thought, interesting how I've carried that idea, the idea of the mustard seed and the faith, and the mustard seed itself is so hard, so small, so delicate. And yet, why he chose that as his symbol of truth in that parable was it grows to a great size of an herb. It's one of the biggest tree-like, shrub-like herbs that grow in the garden, and it stands over all the others. But does that little hard seed know that that's what it's going to be? Do the seeds within, the God seeds within all of us, know what we're going to be until we plant ourselves in the soil of life? And then we allow ourselves to be rooted. We allow ourselves to then grow from that and be the individualized source from that soul of creativity? No, but we all do it. We all do it. That's what the faith is. And so of course, in all my explorations on the internet too, as I explored faith, I came across this wonderful little picture, and it has a finger holding a mustard seed, and it said, "I have a mustard seed, and I'm not afraid to use it." I love this. So I'll get you guys, if you guys ever want a copy of it, and you can just throw it around, and all this tough stuff about gun control right now, and we have this. We have this. It's a beginning. It's our faith. So faith, I start there. I just finished with 20 plus wonderful people diving into the wisdom of Phineas Quimby, who was the New Thought teacher and started many of our philosophy, and a lot of what Ernest Holmes bases his understanding on goes back to these transcendentalists from the period of time of Abe Lincoln, the 1800s time. And it has been a real soul searching, because he talks exactly about prayer, belief, and faith. And now faith is something that only you can acquire from your life experience. It's not something that you can get from a talk or from reading something. It's from your life experience where you start to really recognize the cause and the effect of all of that you do, all that you think. Now, our beliefs that rest, as Damien read that so beautifully, that passage, because it's all about that level of subconscious realm where we have this creative thought up here in the conscious mind where we can think our thoughts, right? We understand that. We can think and we can apply that thinking. But it's only going to be done unto us as it filters through that subjective, that subconscious field of our beliefs. So if we are praying to be the winner of something, and yet underneath that lies the seed of doubt, of smallness, this big vision gets constricted through that space, and then what is outpictured is what we have, what we become. And so I've been watching the Olympics a lot this week, so much so that I couldn't figure out why yesterday my knees hurt so much. And I think it's because I was doing the slaloms with them, and I was doing the things that they do with the skateboards, with the snowboards. And I thought, man, my shoulder hurt from when they fell. I was just a mess yesterday. And then I was driving here, I was doing the old Lindsey Vonn, because I would watch her at the gate, and I thought, oh, I like that breathing. And I thought, we should all do that, when we get little butterflies. Yeah, and I am so absolutely, I just watch their every move because they just impress me as human beings. Don't they, all of you? I mean, they're all heroes. They're all winners. They are up there. They were born with the same bodies. And so I'm thinking, I was in yoga class this week and we were doing a twist, and I found myself saying, we're going to twizzle. We're going to twizzle to the left. And then we were doing our balancing, and I was thinking of the ice skaters, and of course, I was using the piano as my guiding force as I held on to that as I was doing all these balance moves and making everybody else do it on their own out there. But I just think, we all have that potentiality. We all have that in the seed of our being. And then we plant beliefs into that soil of who we are. And some of those beliefs don't really serve us anymore. So what is spiritual practice? Spiritual practice is to reach into that subconscious and to allow the subconscious beliefs that no longer serve you, that confine you, that keep you small, for them to reveal themselves, and you can say, no more, no more, I choose now. And so you have revealed that small belief to the light of greater wisdom, to the divine, and then you apply your faith in knowing that as you think and as you hold your wisdom to that greater idea of who you are, so be it. And that's the spiritual life. That's what we're all doing. It seems like such a simple truth, and yet we seem to forget again and again. But that's okay. We forget and we come back. There was a beautiful song of Charlie Tweet many years ago, Remembering and Forgetting. And it just kept being a lullaby. Remembering and forgetting, remembering and forgetting. But let us know that each time we remember, we get a little closer to the divine. And that divine knowing, that wisdom there, that deep intelligence, that soul force holds us and knows us. So everything, this is some quotes and some inspirations from the Bible itself, but everything begins in mind. So these are the quotes that support that. As you believe, you will receive. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Let it be done to you according to your belief. Let it be to you according to your faith. If you can believe, everything is possible to him who believes.
Whatsoever should you say to this mountain, be moved and fall into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will be done, it will be done unto him. That is the faith of the mustard seed. So as I speak to you today, the invitation for you is to just quietly tune into your heart and recognize when you are shifting from belief to faith. And then you anoint all of that with a prayer. An affirmative prayer is what we believe in this teaching. This affirmative knowing that what we speak to is in the now. And so we connect the God is. We connect. What is that for you? What is the name of your source? The divine, the spirit, the mystery, Allah, God, friend, beloved one, beloved mother, beloved father. You find the name of the nameless, the Tao, and you find comfort in that. It quickens your heart, and then you say, I am that. I am that, what I am. And you connect with that great divine. And then you have that moment of intimacy with the divine. And there's your faith right there. And it's such a sweet moment. And then you speak into that declaration of your truth, of your longing of your heart. But you speak it in such a way that it is already so. And it's filled with the quality of the divine. So it's not necessarily a thing or an accomplishment, but it's what that accomplishment or what that desire or what that thing will motivate within you, what quality of the divine, this love, the beauty, the light, the love, all of those perfect qualities that nothing can touch, those divine qualities, that wisdom. So you pray into that, and then you just give thanks, knowing that you have done your work, that your soil has been tilled, and you wait patiently as you release that final step. I let it go, because I know now it is done unto me as I believe, and I have done my work. I have done my good work, because everything begins in mind. Everything you ask in prayer, believe that you will receive it. Sri Srimnoy, one of my favorite authors to reflect upon some of his writings, he says, faith can believe everything. Faith can believe everything that we say. Belief can increase the strength of faith. Belief is pure. Faith is sure. Belief looks around to see the truth. Faith looks within, not only to feel the truth, but also to become the truth. Faith looks within, not only to feel the truth, but also to become the truth. And this brings us to the message of that which is beyond, that which is the mystery, that which we can say, I know because I know, and we can almost get really irritated. Well, how do you know? Because I know. Twyla did that, well, how do you know what's after? I know. Well, how do you? Well, I just know. I thought, well, I'm not messing with you. I think you do know. And it's that level of faith. Nobody can poke it. It's safe inside of you, and it's deep, and it's pure, and it's real, and it's solid, and it's filled with light, and it's filled with love, and it has joy. I know. Okay, good for you. Good for you. So we have to have faith in ourselves. You see, we have to have faith in ourselves in that knowing, in that declaration of truth. But we also have to have faith in God or Spirit or whatever you name that. If it's just in God and not in ourselves, you see, we cannot separate that. We cannot say in some glorious way, God is. I'm not. And just kind of wither and crumble at the moment we're called into action. We have to believe that we are that which we name our God to be. If it's just in God and not in ourselves, we don't create our full potential. Think about that. This has been a revelation for me this week, and people are getting kind of tired of me saying, you know how when you get a big aha, you keep telling everybody, and they go, yeah, you already told me. Good for you. Glad you got that. But I'll tell you. Oh, you want to hear? Oh, okay.
And it all happened with a dialogue with a young, sweet child. And we were doing a prayer of support. And I realized in that prayer, somehow, without really consciously being aware, I was so focused on her purity and her spirit that I had put the other character over here somewhere. And in the prayer, as I connected with the divine pulls that character in. And my heart quickened with this, of course, I need to be praying for the whole scenario here, which I know on one level, but somehow I hadn't realized I had separated because I was so focused on this. And then I started thinking about the whole world and thinking, I'm praying for this peace, and I'm praying for global understanding and common ground. May we stand on common ground again. And yet I pray, but then I keep some of the characters positioned, and I snarl at them. And I'm thinking, I can't do that. And then that prayer, and Mike, how does it say it exactly? God, the first greatest commandment. Do you remember, Mike? You thinking? It's love God before all others. Before anything, love God. Put God first. Well, of course, you put God first in every single person. When you see God first in every single person, God first, God first, God first in all of the enemies that you have. Put God first. Love first. When you do that, of course, healing begins. Things start to happen because you no longer kind of qualified your love. Qualified it, maybe sprinkled a little bit over there. But now you embrace it all of it, and you hold it. Love first. There's where your prayer begins. So that was my aha, just of what that commandment first meant. Put God first, and I thought, well, yeah, God, then. And so I was always sort of keeping God on the exterior, though calling it interiorly. But I was missing something. So there was a belief in me that just burst forth. And my whole world this week has been watching that, monitoring that, holding that, staying true to that, wanting that belief to really harvest a greater good in the world and in my experience, in my prayers, in my heart, in my thoughts. Because our thoughts, remember, are manifesting everything. There's this idea that if we think that I'm going to say a prayer and then go right out into the world and start complaining, start belittling, that is what is being made manifest. And we know that faith then becomes the inner pilot of your experience. So this is our aspiration, this is our invitation to turn to God for our refuge, for our way. And when we do that, in the darkest of times, when we do that, there is this deep truth of love, light, truth, beauty, joy, wisdom, bliss. And as we start to discard some of our worldly beliefs, some of our assumptions, some of our mental egoic ways of wanting to be right, wanting to make others stop it and do it our way, when we stop that, when we drop that, we discard all of that, we recognize that we're set free. And we are a conduit of the divine. Then that divine light, that divine knowing, we become the source of that absolutely in every action, every thought, every heartbeat. And the world becomes a brighter place. So if you have doubt, though, there's no value. There's no value of the doubt creeping in when we're trying so diligently to become more God-realized. So the invitation as we move through this week is to align your inner soul light, the inner soul light of your heart and mind. You see, that inner soul light,
these girls next week will be helping you tap into that in a very creative way. So this divine source, this light, is longing to be expressed out through you as you. This light of truth, it's going to be your guide, and it's going to allow you to escape the doubts. This faith that you recognize you have is that which energizes, opens you. You can feel it, it's freedom. It is the doubt that constricts you and holds you small. So let's align with that inner soul light and tend to allow every thought in every moment, everything that we say, let us know what we're saying and what we're thinking. Let us pause long enough and not be so quickened just to get our story in there, but to calm down and to be like the seed in the soil, waiting to let that first seedling pop up through the earth and demonstrate the absolute of who we are. Be 100% faithful to your spiritual journey, to your path, to your spiritual life. That's why in the morning it's so wonderful to just wake up, and when you start to stir, you plant the seeds right there of a great day unfolding before you. You're going to meet beautiful people. It's going to be a wonderful day. Even if you get a flat tire, it doesn't matter, you're slowing down. So you just realize, I put God first in my day when I woke up. And then I allow, as triggers happen, you look at the trigger, you look at the source and think, oh, why is that bugging me? What do I need to see? What do I need to see? Because it's not them. It's not them. Let the light shine upon my unknowing here. Let the truth be revealed. And let all doubt cast away. And let this, I am one with the divine, so let that speak through me now. And you keep attending to every thought, everything, in everyone, in everything. Quimby says, true prayer is the desire of the heart. He says, I have no account for God. He pays me as soon as my work is done. I have no account with God. He pays me as soon as my work is done. I do not ask favors for him apart from his principles. If I act wrongly, he will not step out and correct me. I must do it myself. No man of character will beg or pray for the sake of a gain. True prayer is the desire of the heart, and if the heart is right, the prayer is answered. A prayer made up of words is lost unless accompanied by good to someone, and if we do good to one another, our prayer is in the act. True prayer is in our acts. False prayer is in our words, and by their fruits you shall know them. So what we believe, we create. If I really believed in anything, the effect will follow. These are his words, whether I think of it or not. So he recognizes that subconscious level. And so he was diligent in polishing away all of the indoctrinations that he recognized were a part of him as they bubbled forth, as they were like little fizzy bubbles just coming up in his experience. And he thought, I need to tend to that. That's not the truth. I made that up. That's a man-made belief. And he was driven to find the God source. Beliefs or opinions are from the world or race mind, which influence the mind with limitation, disease, ignorance, falsehood, and lies. Pure wisdom is God. Wisdom is God. This divine intelligence is God. This divine intelligence is your source. This divine intelligence is what moves you, feeds you. You thrive on this truth. So it's a powerful journey that we're on. And I wanted to take a moment to share this cute little mustard seed faith in closing. A very old man with many a need planted his faith with a mustard seed. His garden was dying, he didn't know why. He said a small prayer, lifting hands to the sky. He never thought twice, just watered each day. Though insects and rodents burrowed their way into his garden and into his field, when a man applies faith, then a man has to yield to the Lord and trust in his care, seeing the plant as if it were there, seeing the plant as if it was there, no doubt. Unaware of the day and never in doubt, a shoot from the seed, or of the root shot out, it blossomed one day to a very large tree, where people for miles would stop by to see. Its branches spread out to the birds of the air, reminding the man they were all in God's care. The rest of his garden was flourishing too. There's simply no limit to what God can do. In the shade of the tree, the old man would rest. He planted his tree and was put to the test. So what about you? Do you have any need? Then it's time to apply it by planting your seed. I love that. I love that. That is by Brian Miles. He wrote that. According to the parable, faith is like a mustard seed, which a man took and put in his garden, and it grew and became a large tree, and the birds of the air nested in its branches. There is a possibility and a potential longing to be expressed through you as you. I look around and I already know your lives are filled with a lot of good. You're all in service to the world. So let us join together in a prayer of faith, a prayer of knowing that it is done unto us as we believe. So we pause and we meditate for just a moment, just a breath. We allow ourselves to be centered in our world, in our life. And we recognize whatever has been oppressing, pushing against our heart space, wherever doubt has made its way, we lift it up. For the light of the one is greater than the darkness of the shadow of that doubt. We lift it up. Each and every one of you, recognize what is yours to lift to the light. And you breathe with that. And you soften your whole body, no longer confined or restricted or contained by a small idea of yourself. But as we pray together today, it is revealed. God is all that there is. A great light overcomes you, within you, around you, through you, as you. We light up. Each individualized soul filling this space with its brilliance, with its truth, with its wisdom, with its peace and way. And in this soil of perfection, in this light of truth, we speak the seed of our deep knowing, that which has caused us to live small, live afraid, we set it free. It is no more. And in this knowing together, as we are bound together in this unified field of the one, this one light, this one truth, there is a glorious power that rises up through each and every one of us. And we see the truth, we see our way. And we celebrate our faith today. And we celebrate our beliefs that are aligned with the absolute truth. And we celebrate and celebrate and celebrate our love, our connection, our wisdom. So for each of one of us here, we move through the rest of our days filled with a greater understanding, a greater impression of how powerful our faith is and how we're led by our prayers, we are led by our beliefs, and they're all joined in the one love of truth. So thank you, God, for the wisdom of Quimby and Ernest Holmes, of Sri Srimnoy, of the wisdom of each one here that is an inspiration of truth revealing itself. I simply let this treatment be free, knowing truly it is already so. That's what we're all about, and so it is. Thank you.